What's going on, boxing fans? I'm right here back with another video here for you guys. Gonna be talking pretty much, giving a recap, not in depth, not a breakdown, just boxing news to be able to talk about, to catch up of what happened this past weekend in boxing. No real big headliners to be able to take into note, nothing to be able to make a prediction video or get real wild up to be able to see what's going on in the boxing scene, but definitely some things to be taking into note to go over that happened over this past weekend that could effectively come into the future with some bigger fights of notice. And we start off with Nick Ball versus TJ Donaghy. And man, first off, man, I really just want to start off being really genuinely honest. TJ Donaghy, shout out to him, man. He did not have to take this fight. He did not have to be able to jump in just right after the TKO loss that he suffered to Inoue, where he just got completely battered in that fight. Inoue just dominated him throughout, especially to the body. And jumping into a young, fresh, hungry dude that is Nick Ball, who is an undefeated fighter as of right now in the division, is also a champion. I'm not recollecting as of right now what organization he's under as of right now that he's a champion, but I definitely know that he is a champion in the division that he's in as of right now, which also is in with I know Inoue. So he's in with a young, hungry dude who is coming off some victories against Regis Prograis. Got the rematch. Excuse me, wrong dude. But got the victory over Raymond Ford, who's also another great boxer who's on an undefeated record. So Nick Ball has been on the ball as of right now and has been seeing and has been talked about a lot with a lot of potential that he could be something in the future. And Nick Ball, from the onset, you got the controversy with the kick after Donaghy kind of had it been a headlock for quite some time after the bell rung. I believe that was in the first round. But really, it was just Nick Ball from the onset doing his thing. TJ Donahue, crafty, wily vet who's, able to take some tricks out of his bag here and there, do his thing, and make things a little bit more rougher than what it was. But Nick Ball, man, from the onset, even though I do think that he was hunting a lot more than he should have been able to, should have been more focused to letting the knockout and the punches come to him and let it just allow it to happen naturally instead of forcing it his way. But I think he definitely was trying to prove a point, especially after TJ Donaghy came off the KO loss against Naoya Inoue, and he wanted to be able to make a statement about him and thinking that he can be able to do the same thing as well. That what Naoya Inoue was, and put him in the same type of pedestal, same type of talkings as a Naoya Inoue. And with that being said, throughout the entirety of the fight, Nick Ball was pretty much dominating, doing exactly what he needed to be able to do to get the victory. He gets a no mas victory, another TKO victory, another TKO loss, excuse me, for TJ Donaghy. For him, back-to-back losses against very, very tough, good competition as well. Shout out to him. He's wanting to fight the best of the best, and there's nothing more that you can give credit for that, even if it is a loss or whatever the case may be. He got a set of nuts on him, and he's showing it. He's definitely prepared to be able to go through whatever type of fire it is to be a champion or stake his name into something. Yeah, and I give him a lot of credit for that. But Nick Ball doing his job, doing what he needed to be able to do to further along progress his career and seek really that potential that he really believed that he has. And after the fight, Naoya Inoue was talking about him on X on social media. So it gets a little buzz. Nick Ball then has a response for him as well. These guys are both in the division as of right now. I thought that Inoue was already undisputed. I know he's been undisputed before, but I thought he was already undisputed in this division already. And Inoue, the past few fighters that he's been fighting, he's got knocked out already, were not really much to be able to say about. But even with that even being said, he's kind of already cleared out the division. People are talking about him from jumping up to 126. But still, there's fights to be able to make. I mean, there's dudes below him, such as Junto Nakatani, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, even though they're in smaller weight divisions compared to Naoya Inoue as of right now. I definitely want to be able to see those fights. Hopefully, those fights can be able to come into fruition sometimes later down this year or next year. But as of right now, this is the best comp, the best thing to put against Naoya Inoue. As of right now, do I think Nick Ball has a chance to be able to win? Absolutely not. But I do think that he can be able to make it a tougher fight than what anybody has been doing as of right now since Naoya Inoue. Luis Neri was the last fight that I believe that I watched from Inoue, even though, again, yes, he has fought after the Neri fight. But Neri was the only fight that really was giving, some type of issues. I mean, Inoue got dropped in that fight, was able to deal with some type of adversity after that. But after he got knocked down, it was another, regular Inoue domination fight, which we usually always see out of him. Um, so it is what it is. They get some talk, they get some chatter. Hopefully, with it being the zone and ESPN top rank, they're able to make things a lot more easier because they're not across the street and being PBC. So hopefully they're able to make this fight sometime soon. I think it would definitely be Inoue would definitely already win. I think he could be able to knock out Nick Ball. Nick Ball has openings here and there, even though he is a talented and good boxer, also very young as well. But I just nobody in these lower weight divisions, besides maybe Nakatani or Jesse Baron Rodriguez, I think would give any type of problems to Inoue, if I'm being completely honest. But Nick Ball gets a nice victory, stays undefeated, stays as a champion, stakes his claim to probably get into an undisputed title fight against Naoya Inoue, who is the monster of all monsters as of right now. So 100% the fight to be able to make next, in my opinion, and definitely something to be able to look forward to, especially in a Inoue fight that's especially kind of hard, especially on this side of the field, us being on the western hemisphere. Their fights usually start really early in the morning for us, and they don't even fight on Saturdays. Usually, they usually fight on like Tuesdays or something like that. But everything besides that, make it happen. Make it happen. Something to be able to look at, be able to say, there is, a chance, but in reality, we know what we're getting. And going to be talking about the other fight that happened on Saturday night, which was Edgar Berlanga versus Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz. And man, what a fall of grace it was for the man named Edgar Berlanga. Very, very hard to be able to see him, jump from the big money fight that he was in with Canelo Alvarez. Usually it's always a sweepstakes. Even if you do lose a fight, you come out a better man with a heavier pocket to be able to fill with a bunch of cash. But he's fighting on this card as the co-main event. I don't even know who was fighting on the main event on this card. I know they were fighting in Puerto Rico, going against, again, like I said, Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz, a complete no-name, dude that had 20 wins, 16 wins by knockout, and one draw, but fought nobody of note, nobody with a name or even a sliver of a name. But eventually, again, he was undefeated, quote unquote. Uh, I mean, I guess, bro. But you look at this dude, he looked like he was in 500-pound life and then got his life together later down the road. And then he cut all this weight and is now in shape, and boxing changed his life, but he has all this damn loose skin. How he has 20 wins and 16 knockouts is beyond me. You can never judge a book by its cover, but Jesus Christ, you know, I mean, may God be with the dude, brother. May God be with the dude. But Edgar Berlanga does exactly what he needs to be able to do against a person like Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz, again, who is a no name. He does exactly what he needs to be able to do. Gets a devastating knockout. Knocks this dude like 2 or 3 times. Has him badly hurt throughout, the little time that was the fight. And again, this was the co-main event, so there was another fight after this. Again, not knowing these dudes' name who's fighting in the main event, but you have Edgar Berlanga, who honestly, has, I'm not gonna say he sold out arenas, but cards have been made built around him. He's been headliners before in America, and for him to just drop to this, obviously, yeah, you do need a bounce back to be able to come back and get your feet wet, get over the loss mentally, emotionally, and all these other things, come back viciously and get a good momentum swing, a good thing to be able to think about, coming off a win, building some type of momentum for yourself, for your career. But there's so many other options. I mean, Jared Hurd literally fought this month earlier this year. You could have been able to go against him. Jason Rosario, he fought last month. Terrell Gasha, who's going to be fighting this month, later this month. Uh, Julian Williams, who fought this month earlier as well. You know, these dudes that are kind of like over the hill, and most of those guys are like bound to PBC. But again, Edgar did fight on PBC, that being because of Canelo. But again, these dudes are washed over the hill. You know, there's not really much to be able to say about them, but they have some type of name value, right? They've fought other good fighters in their career. They can be able to have a litmus test of what they can be able to do. You could possibly see maybe a vintage type of performance out of these older boxers that are still trying to hold on to their career desperately. Um, and again, he just fought this no name, and he did what he did. I mean, he did what he did to be able to do. He got the job done, but again, there's nothing of note to really be able to talk about. What I really want to talk about is him talking in the post press conference. I believe he's with Eddie Hearn as of right now, which is good for him. He has a good mouthpiece right next to him. Um, talking about potential fights in the future with Jamal Charlo. I think Charlo beats Berlanga. I think it's a good fight, but I think just boxing wise, Charlo beats him. The Canelo rematch. I mean, obviously, because the lead up, the build up of that fight was actually pretty good because Berlanga was actually being a dickhead and all this other stuff. So yeah, I understand that, but that's not gonna happen. Canelo spanked you badly and knocked you down as well. And also gave you your first loss of your career. There's nothing that you can be able to say that is gonna make people actually want to see that fight if they already saw you get dominated by him already. Caleb Plant, he's been calling for this fight for a long time. Caleb Plant has a great name. He has, the David Benavidez and Canelo loss on his record. So they have mutual meetings of them also fighting Canelo. But Caleb Plant was actually doing a way better job against Canelo than what Edgar Berlanga was doing. And I think, I'm going to be quite honest, I think Caleb Plant outboxes the hell out of Edgar Berlanga. Even though I do think Berlanga has a lot of talent, is explosive, he has some things to his bag, but boxing ability wise, no. I think Caleb Plant completely shuts him out. But the most fun fight that I think that is definitely the most manageable to be able to make as of right now is the Jaime Munguia fight. Munguia's coming off a loss where he got KO'd. He's going to rematch that dude, probably knock him out viciously, hopefully, to be able to get his hat into the ring. He's also another dude that lost to Canelo but had a great outing for himself compared to somebody like Berlanga. I would definitely want to see that fight. I think that's a very evenly matched up fight. Could really go either way between these two guys. I would lean more towards Berlanga, in my opinion. But Munguia is a hell of a fighter, and I think that would be a hell of a fight. You could put that as a co-main, or you could just have it as a headliner on like free TV. I think it would be great. I think it would be a great matchup between these two dudes. So yeah, that is my talking for the boxing news that happened this past weekend. I'll probably do this a little bit more often with lower, less known fights or fights that doesn't really have much anticipation or much behind it. To just give a recap and reaction over it, to really get my talking about what the future holds for these guys, and really just give my not a full and detailed breakdown how I usually do it, but a breakdown of what happened and what's going on in boxing as of late. So obviously like this video. If you obviously like this video, boxing fans, comment your opinions on Edgar Berlanga, Nick Ball, potential fights in the future for those guys. Subscribe also as well if you want to be able to see more content from me, because I got it for you, you got it for me, baby. It is mutual. It is. We got it. I got it. We're all here, baby. Thank you guys again for watching again, and peace.